Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. With the elections behind us, California legislators are looking ahead at the next session and what they want to get done. With us now is Assemblyman Allan Mansoor to talk about his top items on the list. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
What do you think needs to be addressed first and foremost?
Well, after the new year, we're going to start a new legislative session, and it's going to be a very important year. The budget still is a mess. And it's interesting, at the time we're taping this, we don't know if the taxes are going to pass or not, but whether they pass or not, we still need some serious reforms. And any budget discussions that we have are going to have to include serious reforms. One reform, for example, high-speed rail has been a big topic of discussion. And whether you support high-speed rail or not, I would argue that now is not the time to issue new bonds and put added pressure on an already overly pressured budget where we're having to make cuts and so forth. Why add more bond debt at this time?
Are you talking about bond debt in general or just bond debt for the high-speed rail? Because hasn't the high-speed rail project left the station, so to speak, because the initial funding for the bonds has been released, has received approval?
Well, bond debt in general, sometimes it's necessary for construction projects. Sometimes it does make sense. But we're already at or near our limit of what is prudent in terms of bond debt. So I think we can undo. If there was political will, we could say no more bond debt for high-speed rail until things improve. But we have to stop the bleeding, is my point. Same thing with pension reform. There's another area of reform that has to be addressed with any budget discussions. What was approved by the legislature is good. It addresses only some of the long-term impacts of pension reform. It does nothing to really address the immediate pension debt. And when there are not enough earnings in the market on an annual basis, then we have to go to the general fund or to the taxpayer and say, hey, you have to pay more. Cities have to pay more into PERS to pay for that ongoing pension debt. So you have to have some immediate reform.
There's been some gridlock in Sacramento over these very issues in the past. What's going to be different this time around to make some movement? Well,
there's going to be a greater demand or pressure on the budget, so it's going to hopefully force us to do that. Mm-hmm. Second, you're going to see some new faces in the state legislature. So I'm hopeful that some people up there will be willing to have more of a reform-minded outlook. The other thing is regulatory reform. Businesses are leaving our state. Not only are they leaving, they're choosing not to open new ones in our state, and there's a good reason for that. For example, biotech industry, they are regulated by several state agencies here in California, and that's a financial process they have to go to. It's expensive, and it's also time-consuming to prepare for these inspections and processes that they have to go through on an annual basis. Other states, for example, have streamlined that into one process or one department that regulates a particular industry, so it's much easier to operate in another state.
Mm-hmm. What are these regulations, what effect are they having on our state right now?
Well, they slow down the process of businesses that want to open, or they encourage businesses to maybe relocate in another state where they're going to roll out the red carpet and make it much easier for them, or they have a lesser tax burden. And finally, I just want to add, we need to keep education as a priority. There's no reason we should not be funding that to its fullest right off the bat.
Did you support 30 and 38?
No, I do not support tax increases. I truly believe that money is going to go to other things than what it's intended, and we need to have some of these serious reforms take place first. There is enough money for education. Let's make that a priority. Let's do some serious reforms and get California going in the right direction again.
All right, Assemblyman Allan Mansoor.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us this time. You can catch more local editions on the California Channel and YouTube.